Hi, I'm Mark Clegg and welcome to the Photographer Academy, and today we're talking about simple sets for child portraiture. It's always kind of a good idea to kind of throw something into the mix at some stage in the year to change your photography up a little bit. And one of the great things about portrait photography is that you can always add something into the end of a session to kind of try and take your style to a different direction, perhaps experiment with some new things. And often it's not about spending a lot of money. You can actually do it by just kind of having a bit of a kind of a getting together of props and ideas of what you want to do. And today we want to look at a cloud set, several cloud sets, in fact, to kind of give you an idea of how it could be developed. So the basic one that I set up for a child photography group, as it were, was this kind of cotton wool clouds that we created, just kind of tying them all together and then hanging them from either a fishing wire or from a kind of ribbon, using a paper blue background, as you can see here in the background. And then we used actually pillow stuffing on the floor, but we could have used more of the cotton wool that we use for the clouds and things, really, but the pillow stuffing did the job. And the good news about all of this kind of stuff just fits into one plastic bag, as it were, or a storage bag, so you can kind of get it out ready for the session and so on. So the setup here is actually in two parts. I've got the blue background in place, as you can see. However, behind it, you can see up here is a highlighter, an 8x7 highlight, which is a light box by itself. So even though when I'm doing the first lot of photography, that highlight is not firing, what I can do is quickly change from the blue background to a high key white set by just taking the blue paper up and revealing the highlight in the background, and obviously telling it then to actually trigger. So let's have a quick look at the image itself. So I've got a big softbox running on the left hand side here, and when it's switched on, I've metered it in the middle of the set, pointing the meter back towards the camera position, and that would give me a metering of f4. I like f4, dropping the focus depth as far as the depth of field is concerned for the clouds, throwing the background out a little bit of focus as well. But that's just a preferred kind of aperture for me, and I like to actually run on like an 85mm. I know some photographers prefer to actually use the likes of a 24 to 105 because they can zoom in and out and so on with it, but whatever's kind of good for you. But f4 for me is for the depth of field more than anything else. So as we're seeing it here, it's being lit by just the big window behind camera position, and obviously ambient light within a set, especially if you're using wide apertures and fast shutter slow shutter speeds with high ISOs, you'll find that the ambient will mix into your shoot, and it's not always a great idea to actually kind of mix flash and studio, as it were. So when we're kind of shooting then at the likes of 125th at f4, now you can see there is direction to the light. If you're looking to add more depth of detail into the shadow area of the clouds, then you'll really want to actually run a fill light behind camera position to lift the detail to kind of be around about a stop less than the key light itself. So in other words, we'd be running the fill light metered if it was positioned behind the camera position, big light source, big umbrella, bouncing off a wall or whatever, I'd be looking at f2.8. No light onto the background, because the light from this big softbox will kind of feather across the background to give me the illumination no matter what. And as I said to you already, the kind of the highlight in the background is not set to trigger. So that's the look of the image if we saw it through the camera itself. So by putting a child into the middle of the clouds, you're instantly into a pretty kind of cool look, and you can get some great images, and it really does look like a three-dimensional cloud element. So that, remember, is just from the one light. You could actually have the highlight behind the blue firing as well. That will actually give you a separation light on the top of the child, plus it will obviously illuminate some of the blue, making it a lighter blue paper. to get the kind of idea. But then I could remove that blue paper, as you see here, and now all I've got is the white light behind, and that gives you that beautiful kind of look and feel to the image again. So with the child in and to the middle, put in the one light on, remember what we've got here is that great set. You can develop it as well by kind of just put in the likes of bunting across, stars across, depends on your styling with it, but I wanted to show versatility within the image, that you don't have to just stick to one thing. So this is just a blue paper backdrop now, the light over on the left hand side, the big softbox, and then what I've got is in the opposite end of the studio, in fact, I've got an alternative. So I can just move the main light, and then I can put in, I've got a flower wall behind there, as you can see, just the white paper backdrop or vinyl on the floor, and then I've just got some pom-poms to kind of bring in a little bit more of a three-dimension. So the child would be between the bunting, the pink bunting going across, and the flower drape that is actually going across as well, and that will give me an out of focus bunting in the foreground, out of focus flower kind of drape going across the image, and then obviously the out of focus flower wall in the backdrop. That kind of will give me that kind of look, and I can bring one child in or two kids in, nice and kind of easy with it. But I want to give separation, so like you can see here, I've got the big key light, which is a large round octa softbox, which is the main light source. Then I've got a separation light at the kind of 10 o'clock position. That's just a small light source in the honeycomb. I've got to point that down towards the subject. And then on the 2 o'clock position, I've got a small square softbox with a grid on it to give me the separation as well. And by doing that, of course, it's going to lead us on to be able to actually get that kind of variety no matter what kind of set that we're doing, and using mum to put the kids in position, and she'll just move in and out. She'll move the pom-poms and kind of really get the images. And in the same way, of course, we could set up the likes of a three-sided studio in a smaller space by using, you know, cost-effective printed backdrops, and I'll talk about that on another film. So a bit of an idea for you to actually give a bit of a try, and you can see that in a kind of a small kind of studio space, what kind of versatility and variety that you could create in your portrait photography.